For free motion quilting on the Pfaff Creative 3.0 sewing machine, we're going to start by pulling out first the 6A foot that came with this machine, and we're going to lower the feed dug. So right here at the base of your machine, take the lever and push it to the left, and those feed dugs are going to go down. Make sure your IDT is not engaged, and you can go ahead and put this foot on. So we're going to show you some different settings for different feet options, and then how do you go about getting good free motion quilting results. Now when you put this foot on, this is the same foot for your embroidery, and you do need to make sure that the little plastic piece that comes up on the right side is in front of the foot. Now click on Nice and Easy. Next, with a straight stitch selected, turn on the free motion option. This is set up for 3 different feet. So if you have purchased the Dynamic Spring Foot 3D for free motion or the Spring Foot, you will be selecting one of those options. This foot is the Sensormatic free motion. And watch what you have when you touch that little touch and hold, because it's got the little symbol with the arrow in the bottom corner. This will allow us to adjust the pressure of the foot in relationship to how thick your fabric is. So I just have a little batting inside of 2 pieces of fabric. So when my foot comes down, what I want to do is make sure it doesn't come down too much that it's actually going to hold or not let me move my fabric when I'm stitching. I also like to engage the needle down feature so that holds my fabric in place when I stop sewing. The other thing I'm going to do is also make sure you understand tension when we do free motion quilting. You can also use, I know there's all these cool things that you can do. Let's just go ahead, we'll set that. Is adjust your speed. So if you want to touch and hold, you can set your speed to almost be like a little bit of a controlled speed. It's not the full speed. You can actually get it so as you start to step on your foot control, you can actually kind of start to match your hand speed with the speed of the machine and start to get some nice even stitches. Now, here's the reason this foot might not be the best one for your free motion. It is recommended that if you are doing a lot of free motion quilting, go ahead and purchase from your local Pfaff store the Dynamic Spring Foot 3D for free motion. That foot is going to have more of a hopping mechanism and can work with all the different fabric thicknesses that you're going to be going over, from seams to areas that might be embroidered. There's a lot of variables. This foot is actually going to just float on top of your fabric, which is why you get it, because we need that for embroidery. Sometimes when it floats, though, you might get some skip stitches or even some breaking of thread if you don't have everything adjusted correctly. So I took this out because I want to take a look at the back. And this is pretty common when you just try it out. Your stitches will often need a little tension adjustment. So notice here that we are seeing some of the top thread coming through and kind of what I call like spider web on the back here. So what we need is that we need to tighten up our top tension for this particular technique. And this is normal. So when we talk about tension at 4.6, I always tell my students go up to at least 5.6. I will tell you, let's just go up to a full 6.0 and let's do it again. Let's go ahead and test the theory here. Now, as it's hovering across the fabric, if you feel like there's too much room between the fabric and the foot, that is where we're going to go in and touch and hold. We can adjust this to be closer to the fabric. I can feel it actually I was touching it and I could feel the foot coming further down against it. Or if we have a little higher loft batting, you might need it to not be as close and kind of raise it up. So you will need to kind of find which setting is best for your fabric and batting thickness. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to stitch a little bit more and check the tension. So once you have the tension set, then you're totally going to be ready to do this. This is looking better. I can see more of my bobbin thread and less of my top thread, but don't be afraid to go even higher. So let's just even take it up to 7.0, and that should balance out the bobbin tension as well. Now, I have learned some amazing free motion techniques and patterns from taking some Craftsy classes. So I am a Craftsy instructor, not a free motion quilting instructor, instructor. I teach a serger class and a t-shirt quilt class. You'll have to check it out. But below this YouTube video, in the links below, there are some recommended Craftsy classes for learning free motion quilting. You have a fabulous machine. You've got distance here. We got great lighting. You've got ease of push a button. We got thread scissors to cut it when it's so nice. One thing I do recommend to my students though is when your machine is sunk into a sewing cabinet, you are going to get the optimum level smoothness because the quilt is all going to just easily be flush with the table. That is the ideal situation. So don't feel like just because you're working it here and you're struggling, it could be really just needing a sewing cabinet. I can't tell you enough how important that is when quilting. For here, gravity is not your friend and it's going to pull against those larger projects. But with some of the tips I showed you, you will be set for free motion quilting, usually the tightening of the tension. Don't forget we've lowered those feed dogs, so when you're done, bring those back up and turn off your free motion setting by unchecking the box. And now you'll be back for regular sewing when you take this foot off and go back to your regular foot.